Good evening. My name is Kimberly McLemore. Welcome to WSBI, your Resource for Success podcast, Lady K's Lounge, where the evening is spent sharing my ideas, resources, and experiences in helping you succeed. Tonight's topic of discussion: why not have your own podcast program? So let that sink in a little bit. Sit back, enjoy, listen, but learn. So let's get started. I'm going to talk to you a little bit tonight about having your own podcast program. I'm going to talk about why I chose to have a podcast program, what it takes to build one, and the benefits of having your own podcast. I think the funny part about me having a podcast program was that I never thought about it at all. It just happened to be something that was I was pushed into it because I needed to be different. I wanted to be unique. I wanted my business to stand out in a different way. You know, most businesses that come out saying they have a membership and it's more of an organizational type program, not everybody's always so willing to jump on board. So I had to find something unique. And then one day I was having a discussion with my, as I call my creative business development manager, who happens to be my son. And he said, "Mom, you need to do a podcast program. You need to have something where people can actually learn and listen and understand what your program is truly about, and as well as being able to offer them value of what it means to be in business." And guess what? He was absolutely right. I currently have two. This is my second program. My first program, I'm sure you all have heard me talk about, which is the other WSBI, Your Resource for Success podcast program, where I actually interview many women across the country, and they're sharing their stories about their business. And I think it's very valuable, and it's a useful program for anyone to learn. It's not really that you have to just be only a woman to listen to the program. I think what it does is it gives people a lot of great insight about what it means to be in business and why they chose that path. And this new particular program is really just truly about me sharing my resources, sharing my ideas of what it means to be in business, but through different topics. So I thought it would be really great tonight, like I said, and talk about how to build your own podcast program. And the first thing you have to do when you're building your product, basically like you should do with anything, is to research. Very, very, very important to do. It took me a couple days, to go through the research and understanding that, okay, first of all, what is a podcast program? How does it really truly work? Is it expensive? Who would I go with? All these things that you're going to think about in the back of your mind, these are absolutely the things that you have to research. So the first thing that you want to do is determine whether or not what software program you want to use. First of all, of course, you want to use your laptop or desktop preferably. And then, like I said, you go through the process of, wow, okay, who do I need to go with? Who can I truly afford? As most of you know, the one software program that I like to use is Spreaker. Spreaker is much more affordable, as well as easy software to implement into your laptop program, and it records pretty simply. The one thing that you do have to have, which of course today is free, is having Skype. You have to use the Skype audio in order to work with Spreaker, but is probably one of the most popular software programs to use, as well as another good program that a lot of people are using is Audacity. Audacity is a little bit trickier, even though the good part about Audacity, you can record frequently and you can still upload all your information into Spreaker so that you have somewhere for your interviews to be heard throughout the country as well. Another program that's out there is called GarageBand. Now that's one program I haven't used, but it is also available. And then we have what we call Blog Talk Radio, is another good resource to use when you're building your own podcast program. So those are just a few, but like I said, my favorite is Spreaker. Spreaker is connected through a lot of different organizations such as iTunes, iHeart. You can you're connected through SoundCloud, as well as you can connect through all your social media aspects, which is Facebook, Twitter, as well as YouTube. So it's very flexible, and I really enjoy using that software program. And remember, it's not free, but it's very affordable. They have 3 different tiers, which I'm not going to get into the prices. It's something that you need to review and determine which best tier is yours. I will say that I use the mid-level tier, which it provides you 500 hours. And if you can go through 500 hours in a year, you're pretty doggone good. So I would consider probably that would be the better pro plan to utilize. The other thing that's really important about this process of building your podcast program is the equipment. The equipment is extremely, extremely important. The one thing that I had went through over and over and over was getting the proper microphone. Oh my goodness. I mean, I think I've gone through 3, but the best one that I would recommend is the Blue Yeti. The Blue Yeti USB microphone is phenomenal. That's what I'm talking on currently. It's very clear and crisp. It makes you feel like you're actually in the same room. And the price is very reasonable too. It's one of the top of the line microphone systems that people use when they're doing a podcast program. One of the other well-known microphones is the Legitic Clear Chat, which is a USB headset as well. Logitech, is the name of it, and it's very, very reasonable in price. Now, I did use Logitech. The thing that was kind of quirky with Logitech that it doesn't always necessarily, for whatever reason, build well and work well with the software or the soft card that's within the laptop or desktop that you may be using. So it didn't work out well for me. So that's when I went up to the Blue Yeti. The other one that's very popular is the Heal PR. It's HEIL PR-40. And the only difference with this actual microphone is that you have to have what they call an XLR connection. So it's not USB usable, but it's very expensive. When they say that's top of the line, it is top of the line. So when you're new coming into this type of business, you don't necessarily need to spend $300 to $500 on a microphone. You want to be able to be very reasonable. And like I said, the best part about the Blue Yeti is that it's affordable, but it's also one of the best known microphones to use because of the clearness that you hear when you're communicating, doing your interviews. The other thing about your software, the one thing too, that when you're trying to do your using your equipment and you're trying to do your interviews, like I said, I go through Skype because that is what's recommended through Spreaker. You also will be able to use Google Hangouts, and like I said, Audacity is a way to conduct those interviews. And so it's really, really important. That's probably one of the most important piece about the interview, is being able to understand what people are saying beyond the content of your conversation. It's that, to keep people brought in on board of what it is that you're trying to convey. If they can understand you, then people get a little frustrated, and I can guarantee you the listeners won't be around for long. So, if you're going to get into this, make sure that you have the proper software and the equipment and the proper hardware. So it's very simple. It comes with, you need to have a PC or a Mac computer, a good microphone, and know the software programs that you need to choose in order to set up that podcast. That is the best part about doing a podcast program. And then, like I said, the other benefits of having a program, which is the next phase that I want to talk about, is your audience. You have a real connection with your audience. And that's what I love about doing a podcast. Even though you're not in front of the individual or your listeners, you may be in front of the individual doing the live podcast, but you can also do a lot of pre-recordings. But just that audience, the way that you can reach out to them in a way that you may not be able to, I think is really important. That true connection. There's always somebody out there who is in the same boat. they understand where you're at or what you're trying to accomplish. And to hear somebody else's story, sometimes it sinks in a little bit quicker. And the great part about doing the podcast program is that, guess what? You get to go back and listen over and over and over until you feel like you've gotten it. Until you feel like you really are in tune to what it is that you're trying to convey, that person's conveying to you, and that you can truly understand. The other thing that's really a benefit about having a podcast program is it brings out your brand awareness. It brings out who you truly are. I think that being able to sit down and let people know the connection that you have, it helps you develop your company brand, having a podcast. And guess what? Once your brand and your image and the audience connection comes out, you literally can become a household name overnight. I think it's very important that when you're doing your podcast programs, like I said, the content is an important piece, but being able to have that true connection of who you may be interviewing, or just as if I'm talking to you tonight, I want you to be able to feel as if I'm in that same room with you, and that we're connecting the same way we're connecting. When I'm talking to the ladies that I interview, I always try to explain to them that, hey, just be comfortable, be patient, realize that we're just two girlfriends having a great conversation, because in reality, that's really what we're doing. We're conversing, and we're talking about our ideas. We're sharing our resources. We're allowing us to be somewhat vulnerable so that people can understand that this is the human side of who we are being on a podcast program. Sharing those ideas allows you to also show your expertise in the field of business or services or products that you provide. That's really important. Having that information that can be reviewed regularly by your listeners, like I said earlier, that is the key to having a podcast program. For some people, it may not be something they want to utilize, but I believe that if you are not ready to come out and do a weekly video program, or you don't, like Facebook videoing or any other type of video, if you're not prepared for that, I think it's best sometimes that you give yourself an opportunity just for people to hear your voice, understand your goals, understand what it is you're trying to convey. I think makes it easier for you as the owner, and as well as for the listeners. Eventually, you will have the opportunity to get in front of these people, your listeners, and the people that you do business with, and they'll start to put two and two together. So it's really a great opportunity to be in business. And having a podcast program can lead you to so many other things. One of my great goals and that I am trying to do, having these podcast programs, is that I would love to be a part of iHeartRadio. Just to even be looked at, you have to have a minimum of 100 followers as well as likes. People think that, that's not that hard to do. It is not that easy to do. The only reason why I said that is because there are so many other people that you're competing with in the world of podcasts now. Once you hit to that certain level of your program, you will people will be calling you versus you calling them. People will want to be a part of your show. People will want to advertise. That's where, if you're looking to make money, that's how you make money doing a podcast program. But the key is, like I said, it's a great way to connect. And I think that has been the best tool or resource that I've been able to utilize for my business. I've been able to connect with some fabulous women, and now these women are a part of my organization. And, we're all starting off new. We're all learning from each other. We're all starting to get the opportunity to truly build something that has been one of my dreams. And also I get an opportunity to motivate you into doing something that you want to do. My theory is to live, dare to be fearless, go for your dreams, and being able to have this option of a podcast program for my business, I get that opportunity to convey with you every week. And now I get that opportunity to convey this twice a week to you. So these are the things that will help you get to the top. And like I said, I just thought I wanted to take a few minutes out of your time this evening just to talk to you about why it's important and why not have your own podcast program. Like I said, having your podcast program helps you elevate your business. The big part about it is making sure that you have the proper equipment, of course. And like I said, there's just so many other benefits to it. And, if you try it, you would be amazed what you can get out of yourself. Because believe me, every time I get behind this microphone, people have no idea that I'm just as nervous as the person who's sitting on the other side of the microphone, because I want to bring value. And that's what a podcast program does. It will bring value to your listeners and also to yourself. You learn so much because you're learning from other people. It's not always just about your opinion. But the beauty about doing the podcast program, like I said, it builds your audience. It helps brand your image. And also you can share your expertise. Key thing is, you're definitely going to have a little money, but that doesn't take a whole lot. I mean, you could probably get through this whole program, putting together your whole podcast program with a little under maybe $300 at the most. So if you really, really, truly are looking to do a program and you do need help, please feel free to reach out to me. I have no problem with sharing these ideas with you further and helping you pick out the right software program and the hardware or equipment that you think you may need to have. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are definitely coming to the end of another night of learning. I do hope that your spirits have been lifted and you're ready to soar. Remember, dare to be fearless. That's my motto. That's the only way to live. But it's good night to everyone. I will be back here every week at 7 p.m. because this is a regularly scheduled program. But if you want more information about the Women's Small Business Initiative, you can reach me anytime, and you can review things through the website at www.wsbillc.com. You can also visit me on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. But until then, enjoy the rest of your evening. And thank you for being a part of Lady K's Lounge. Good night.